Shalom. This is the fourth day, Aliyah of Parashah Vayeishev, which is Genesis chapter 38, verses 1 through 30, from the Torah that Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, gave to us, whose name is Yahweh, whose son is Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who is a so-called black man that the world calls Jesus Christ, who died for the sins to be a prince and a savior for the nation of Israel, Yasharallah. So today we're going to be reading about Trick Daddy Judah. Judah was tricking. Judah was messing with prostitutes. And we're going to read what happened behind that. Okay. So we're going to just jump right into it. We read what was going on with Joseph. That's the last thing we read, right? With Joseph, okay. So now Joseph he's got sold as a slave. Joseph is a slave now down in Egypt. Meanwhile, Judah is up here with the Canaanites, you know. All right, so Genesis 38 and 1. Now it came about at that time that Judah, Yahudah, which is the father of the so-called Black Americans, we know for sure. Now, of course, you have other members of the tribe of Judah in parts of the world, but Judah is the father of the so-called Black Americans. Right now, it came to pass at that time that Judah was demoted by his brother. Now, this is a whole lot of extra stuff. It doesn't say this. The Hebrew says Judah went down. Okay. He went down from his brothers. Okay, why? Yadad Yahwadah Ma'ath Akiyawa Wayat Aid, and came until Ayash, a man. Aidalmaya. All right, a Dulamite. So he came down to an Adulamite man named Hira or Kaira. And there Yahudah, okay, which is Judah, saw the daughter of a merchant named Shua, and he took her and came to her. Once again, it says Kanaanya, but somewhere along the lines, people decided that, oh, it wasn't a Canaanite, it was a merchant, because they didn't want Judah to be known for marrying a Canaanite woman. But it says Kanaanya, okay? So the daughter of a Canaanite named Shua. So the lady's name was Shua, and took her and came to her. So Judah took this woman and the baby with her. And she conceived and bore a son, and he called him Er. And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called him Onan. So she had two babies, Onan and Er. Once again, she bore a son and named him Shelah. And he, Yahudah, Judah, was in Kezib when she gave birth to him. And Judah took a wife for Er, his firstborn, named Tamar. Now Er, Judah's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and Yahweh put him to death. Now, once again, I think that kind of substantiates that the woman was a Canaanite, because we have no Israelites or family from Abraham just being called outright evil. I think that was introduced into Judah's family at this point by the Canaanite woman. Okay, and we're going to see another evidence of that as we go along. All right, so Yahweh killed Er because Er was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, which is Ir. That's his name. So Yahudah said to Onan, okay, Onan, which is Onan, come to your brother's wife, the Levite marriage. When your brother dies and your brother didn't have any sons, the other brother is supposed to marry the brother's widow, and have a son, and name that son after the brother that died. All right, or carry on that name. Come to your brother's wife and perform the rite of a Levi rite, or the right of the inheritor of the woman, and raise up progeny, or raise up a seed for your brother. All right, Zerai la Akyaka, a seed for your brother. So you have to carry on, have a son that's going to keep the family going as if that brother had a son, is what that means. Okay, now what he did was evil. Verse 9. Now Onan knew the progeny would not be his, and it came about when he came to his brother's wife, he wasted his seed, his semen, on the ground in order not to give seed to his brother. So he went and had sex with the woman, but then when his seed was leaving from his private parts, he put it on the ground, or wasted it, as opposed to putting it inside of the woman, which is what it was supposed to be. And once again, this was a deviant sexual behavior that I believe he inherited from the Canaanites, that seed of when we look at the book of Leviticus, chapter 18, it tells us that the Canaanites did all sorts of sexual perversions. All right, and even that even went over when Tamar did a sexual perversion against her own father-in-law. All right, so given once again an evidence that this man, Shua's father, was indeed a Canaanite, not a merchant. Okay, all right. Now verse 10. Now what he did was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and he put him to death also. Yahweh killed him. Then Judah, Yahudah, said to his daughter-in-law, remain as a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up. So Judah had the power over this woman that was a part of his household, even though her husband had died. All right, he had the power over her. He said, go back to your father's house. For he said, lest he too die like his brothers. So Tamar went, and she remained in her father's house. So he thought that if Shelah went into the woman, that Shelah was going to die too. All right, so it's like a superstition. But this woman is like a black widow. Anything that comes into her web gets killed. So he said, I'm going to keep my son away from this woman, because he thought that the sons were getting killed, kind of indiscriminately. And the sons were getting killed in such a way where it wasn't going to pass over his son, Shelah. 12. Many days passed, and Shua's daughter, Judah's wife, died. So Judah's wife died, and Judah was consoled, and he went up to watch over his sheep shearers, he and Hedah, and Adulamite friend, to Timnah. And it was told to Tamar, saying, behold, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep. Shear the sheep, you get wool, you get lanolin, you get mainly wool and lanolin is what you get from the sheep. The lanolin is a thick, moisturizing type of cream, which a lot of women use when they're nursing. It's also very good for cracked skin. It's really thick for skin. Okay, it's good for cracked skin, nipples, the woman's nipples when she's nursing and it gets kind of raw. Good for diaper rashes, good for rashes on the skin. So he went to shear his sheep to get all of those byproducts from the sheep. Now, this is what his daughter-in-law Tamar did. All right. She took off her widow's garb, covered her head with a veil, and covered her face. And she sat down at the crossroads that were on the way to Timnah, for she saw that Shelah had grown up. But as for her, she was not given to him for a wife. So she saw, man, this boy is big now, and I want my baby. I want to marry the son I'm supposed to marry. So she started getting, upset, feeling slighted because she wasn't getting married to the son she was supposed to get married to. All right. So now she went and dressed up herself, took off her widow's clothes, covered her face, and she put a veil on. Verse 15. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a harlot because she covered her face. Wa yara'ah Yahuda wa ya shabha la zawana wa yakhashabha la zawana kaya kasatha panyaha. She covered her face, right? So he thought she was a prostitute. She made herself look like a prostitute. Why? Because she wanted to trick her father-in-law to have sex with her. And if Judah wasn't tricking, if Judah wasn't out tricking, looking for a woman to have sex with without a relationship, he would have never gotten that situation. All right. And if he would have done the right thing, which was give the woman to his son, he would have never gotten this situation either. So we see kind of Judah has a little bit of integrity issues. So now this is the first historical baby mama. And how befitting is it that it's Judah, the father of the so-called Negro, gives the world their first baby mama. Why? Because he's going to have sex with a woman that's his daughter-in-law, and that's a prohibited and illegal sexual union. She tricked him into having sex with her, so he doesn't go into her. Nobody has sex with a woman again. Nobody lays with her again. All right. So it's just an empty relationship, and Judah raises the sons that are born. So he turned aside toward her to the road, and he said, "Get ready now, I will come to you." So Judah said, "Hey, I'll be back in a minute. Make sure everything is ready for me," because he wanted to have sex with this woman that he thought was a prostitute. For he did not know she was his daughter-in-law, and she said, "What will you give me that you should come to me?" So she said, "How much you gonna pay me to have sex with me? You gonna pay my lights? You gonna pay my car note? You gonna pay some of my rent? You gonna put some groceries? You gonna buy me some shoes? You gonna buy me some weed? You gonna buy me some pills? You got some Molly for me? You got some Percocets? Okay, you got some lean? What you got for me?" So she basically is negotiating for sex now, prostitute. And now Judah is becoming a trick daddy. He tricking with her. He's a John. All right, he's a John. Now this is the reality to show you that there's no perfect person in the scriptures besides Yahweh Hamashiach. Judah was not a perfect man. All right, Judah, his wife died. He didn't get another wife yet that the scriptures record. He wants to have sex with a woman. So he goes out and sees this woman, thinks she's a prostitute. All right. Now, verse 17. And he said, "I will send a kid from the herd." And she said, "Only if you give me a pledge until you send it." So he says, "I'm going to send you a baby goat." And she says, "Well, give me some collateral, so I know that you're going to send it." And he said, "What is the pledge that I should give you?" And she said, "Your signet, which is your ring, your cloak, which is like tape you on his back, and the staff that is in your hand, which was the symbol of his strength, his power as a shepherd, as one of the 12 sons of Yaquan." So all these things represents the power. All right. So he gave them to her, man. So he must have really wanted to have sex with this woman. All right. He must have thought that, he was going to be able to get up from laying with her and dust gold off of his body or something. He must have thought she was going to leave gold residue on his body. He's giving her his ring. He's giving her his cloak and his staff. You know how important his staff was? That sounds like Babyface. "I give you the sun, the rain, the moon, the stars, and the mountains. I'll give you everything. All right. So Judah is, giving her all of the symbol of his power. And that's why women and sex can make a man weak. Weak in the knees, he can hardly speak. All right. So Judah is the woman all the tokens and signs of his power. The signet is what you sign and you stamp something that says that you authorize a purchase, or you authorize a message, or you authorize a person's safety. You vouch for somebody, you will stamp it with your signet of your ring. And he left this with the woman. All right. So the woman is basically could cause him to go to waste. All right. She could misuse these things, but he doesn't care. He just wants to lay with her. All right. So he gave them to her. Let's read again. Your signet and your cloak that is in your hand. And he gave them to her. And he came to her, and she conceived his likeness. All right. So he came unto her. He came unto her, and she got pregnant. All right. So now, normally, if you were a prostitute, sometimes you would take different kind of pills and stuff or herbs, but she didn't do any of that. And sometimes, as we see later on with Solomon, you would just have the baby. All right. You would just have the baby. All right. Now, that baby that was born was not called a mamzar or a bastard. That's not what a bastard is. A bastard is a baby that's born from a prohibited union, a union to where the man is not legally, righteously allowed to be with the woman according to the book of Leviticus chapter 18. Okay. So now Judah got this Hamite African woman pregnant. What is he going to do? You got this woman pregnant, and the woman is a prostitute, but he doesn't know. All right. But he doesn't know. So now, since he doesn't know, he says, well, look, he doesn't know this is his daughter-in-law. So he gives her all of these tokens to show that he's serious. He wants to lay with her. So he lays with her, has sex with her. Verse 19. Then she arose and went away, and she took off her veil, and she donned her widow's garb. So she put her widow's clothes back on, and she took off the covering veil, and she got back into her clothes to show that she was a woman whose husband had died, and she hadn't gotten married again yet. Verse 20. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his Adulamite friend to take the pledge from the woman's hand, but he did not find her. So now the woman is AWOL. Now the woman is AWOL. He came back with the goat, which is the kid. And now the friend takes the pledge, which is the collateral. He wants to get the collateral from the woman, but the woman's not there. Verse 21. So he asked the people of the place. He asked the people of the place, saying, "Wayasha'al afha anashon." So he asked the men of the place, saying, "Where is the harlot?" So who was who's on the way? So he said, where did that hoe go? In layman's terms, where's that prostitute at? Where's that hoe at? Is what it said. They didn't use no nice term about it. Excuse me, did you see the woman that engages in intimacies for hire? All right. So he said, where's that harlot at? All right. He said, where is the harlot? Now, well, actually, let's backtrack. Let's backtrack. I'm sorry. So it's good to have the Hebrew right here. The Hebrew right here is Quatshah. Okay, Quatshah. Now, Quatshah, as you can see, is made up of the root word Kodash, which means holy. Now, Quadsha was a woman who had sex for money, but traditionally she was attached to a specific pagan temple or a specific pagan organization, and she would take part of her earnings and she would give it to the temple. So she was like a sex slave for a particular god or goddess, okay, which could have been in this region, could have been Baal or could have been Ishtar, okay, could have been Ishtar. So this is something that we that we see right here, that it's a very special word. This is a woman, this is a wanton, loose woman that engages in sexual behavior on a regular basis, okay, for hire. Now, for the man, it's Quadsha. It's Quadsha for the man. When you see the word sodomite in the Bible, it says Quadsha. It doesn't say sodomite. It says Quadsha. All right. So now this woman is the harlot, not but Quadsha. All right. So he said, where's the woman that was at the crossroads? And they said, there is no harlot there, bro. Like, nah, somebody got you. So he returned to Judah and he said, I have not found her. And the people of the place also said, no harlot was there. Okay. No harlot was there. So Abel said, there's no woman here that has sex. So you got, we saw her. So Judah said, let her take them for herself, lest we become a laughing stock. Behold, I sent this kid, but you did not find her. So Judah said, if people find out what I did, they're gonna laugh at me. Okay, here I am, a nobleman, and I'm out here, tricking. So he was embarrassed. So he said, well, let her keep my ring, my cloak, and let her keep my staff. Now that staff was probably made out of a nice, strong, expensive wood. All right, maybe you would call like a Santa Maria, or like some kind of a mahogany type of wood or something. And then what they could do, they could take that wood and cut it in small pieces and make like little idols, little personal size idols like the Roman soldiers used to carry, or like Rachel had when she took it from her father's house. Little small god, maybe 3, 4, 5 inches. So imagine how many of those you could carve with that expensive wood and sell them. And now with the ring, it was probably made out of a precious metal. And it maybe had some precious stones in it too, so she could sell that also. So he gave her something that was more valuable than the service that he was getting from her. All right. So he said, behold, I sent this goat, this kid, but you did not find her. Now it came about after nearly 3 months, which is what? First trimester, that it was told to Yahudah, saying, your daughter-in-law, Tamar, has played the harlot. So now, your daughter-in-law, Tamar, okay, she has played the harlot. Now, the word they use over here is zanatha. Now, they use a different word. It's kind of like a prostitute, which is quadshah, and this one is like zanatha or zanatha, which is now from zana, which means a harlot. That's a whore, just a regular whore. So they just debased her. They said, you're not a professional about it. You're just a regular, lock and stock whore now. Your daughter-in-law Tamar has played the whore, and behold, she is pregnant from harlotry. See that? So it says she is pregnant from harlotry. La zanwan yam. Right there. The root word is zana once again. So she's pregnant from harlotries. She's pregnant from being you know, from going around acting like a whore. That's what they're saying to her about her. She's pregnant from acting like a whore because she wasn't supposed to be having sex with anybody except Judah's son. Okay, but Judah was holding back his son from marrying her. All right, so now Judah said, bring her out and let her be burned. So Judah said, bring her out and we're going to burn her. We're going to burn her. She got to burn. So her and her little baby, everybody going to die. All right, everybody's going to die. That's what's going on now. All right. She was taken out and she sent to her father-in-law saying, from the man by whom to whom these belong, I am pregnant. So she said, well, no, I'm not going down alone. There's somebody else that also needs to be questioned about how I got pregnant. And she said, please recognize whose signet ring, cloak, and staff are these. All right. So she was taken out and she, you know, she sent it to him, said, whose stuff is this? Verse 26. Then Yahudah, the father of the so-called Black Americans, then Yahudah recognized them. And he said, she is right from me. Okay? It says she is more right. She is righteous from me. Right, so it says she is righteous, not right. It says she is righteous from me, Kaya al-Khan, and because of this, I did not give Lashila, I did not give Lashila Banya Wala Yasab Iwad. I did not give because I didn't give my son to her. All right. Natat Yaha. I didn't give to her Shalah, my son. So he said basically she did this because I didn't give Shalah to her. But he no longer continued to be intimate with her. Okay. So he never had any type of relations with her again after that. Now, how do you think Shalah felt? You know, Shalah felt bad, like, man, you took my wife, Abba, father. And they got there's a lot of African movies like that from Africa. Right? I've seen movies from Nigeria about that, about the king getting a daughter-in-law for his son, and then the king is trying to mess around with the daughter-in-law before the son actually marries the daughter-in-law. All right. So I've seen movies about that. So this is something known in other traditions, other cultures, even our own people down south, up north. Sometimes the man deals with a woman that's not his woman. All right. And that belongs to his father, his son, his cousin, his uncle. All right. All right. Belongs to, you know, somebody that's in his family. All right. So Yahudah stopped dealing with the woman altogether. And it came about at the time she was giving birth that behold, there were twins in her womb. And it came about when she gave birth that he stretched out his arm, the baby. So the midwife took and bound a crimson, dark red thread on his hand, saying, this one came out first. And it came about. So she said, okay, this is the first baby. All right. So he just stuck his arm out. And then go figure how that happened. How the baby stick his arm out of the womb. All right. Maybe it wasn't his arm, maybe it was just part of his body or shoulder or something. And he couldn't come all the way out. So he maybe he crowned, right? Maybe he crowned and went back in. So then when he went back in, and it came about as he was drawing back his hand, behold, his brother emerged. So his brother came out, like jumped over him. And she said, with what strength you have strengthened yourself. And he, Judah, named him Perez, which is Paratzah. Paratzah. So he said Paratzah, which means a breach, which means to come forth unexpected, which means to jump over and leap over a situation, with strength, which means to circumnavigate, go around the obstacle that's presenting itself before you and come out on top. Okay? Shama Pratza. After his brother emerged, the one upon whose hand was the crimson thread, and he named him Zadok. All right, so that's the history. And now this son is going to be the ancestor of Yahushua. All right, Paratzah is going to be the ancestor of the Messiah, to the ancestor of King David. Okay, so now we see in here, and there's a lot of scriptures to back it up also, that we're not supposed to be dealing with prostitution. We're not supposed to be dealing with a woman unless it's our woman that belongs to us, not that belongs to somebody else. Okay. And we need to deal with the women righteously. And if we have an obligation we're supposed to fulfill in our family righteously, then we're supposed to fulfill that obligation. All right. So now there's a lot of scripture we can go into, about that. So many scriptures about a woman and a man and relationship, but he was dealing unrighteously, with the woman. He was unrighteously with the woman. He's supposed to give her to his son-in-law, and he didn't. So this is a situation that develops because of that. And like I said, to her, it was no big issue. It was no big issue, right? And she knew it was going to be exposed. She knew they were going to find out because she got pregnant by him, all right? She got pregnant by him. So now when it got exposed, she didn't have any shame about it. She had no shame. She said, I got pregnant by my father-in-law. There wasn't any shame about it, all right? It wasn't any shame to her, and how she did it. But she tricked Yahweh, and he said, you know what? You are more righteous than me. Basically saying, man, I got caught up with this, so I can't do nothing to you. That's basically what that meant. That's basically what that meant. Because he said that, but honestly, which is the greater crime? Withholding your son because you think he might die and kind of being hesitant to do that, or going out trying to get pregnant by your father-in-law. So one is a crime. It's two different spectrums. One is a crime that's being perpetuated out of fear of your son dying, and the other is a crime that's perpetuated by you wanting a husband, you wanting, a man. All right. Now she already dealt with two men that were evil before, Er and Onan. So now she said, well, I'm supposed to have Shalana. And y'all was like, nah, I'm cool on that because you the Black Widow. Every time you touch a man, he dies. All right. But it was because of their own wickedness that the Most High, was the Most High was killing these men because of their own wickedness. And once again, their Shua's daughter, all right, Shua's daughter, which was Judah's wife, she had died. And then I think that Canaanite cultural deviation was something that why It was though, they had that sexual deviancy, and so did she, right? So this is what happened. We have to live with it. Israel has many low moments, and this is one of them. But thank the Most High that our fathers raised up, and started doing the right thing, and kept the commandment. But we see from Judah, we see it goes down to Solomon. It goes down to David. Both of them commit some terrible sexual sins against the Most High that lead to a lot of wickedness. Solomon would worship other gods, and David would send a man to the front line because he wants to be with his wife, and the woman got pregnant when David lay with one of the wives of one of his soldiers. All right, so that's gonna be it for tonight. We see that the Most High, Yahweh, he wants us to deal sexually. And this is why when we go into the Bible, when we look in Deuteronomy chapter 7, and when we look in 2 Kings chapter 11, and when we look in several other parts of the Bible, it tells us that we are supposed to marry the sons and the daughters of our own people. That means that the Shidi, the Kafirs, Puerto Ricans, Black Americans, Native American, Brazilians, Jamaicans, Cubans, Colombians, West Indies, these people, CD people, we're supposed to marry within our own family of people. This is what Yahweh has commanded us. When we don't do that, what happens? We begin to pick up cultural practices. Our children learn to do things that are against the God of Israel, that are against Yahweh. That, for example, we're supposed to celebrate the new moon as a very holy day and have a feast. But if you marry a Hindu woman, you're going to celebrate the new moon as a very suspicious day where you can't do too much and you have to stay indoors, because that's how a Hindu would observe it. If you're an Israelite, you're going to keep the Sabbath, which is on Friday night to Saturday night. But if you marry a Muslim woman, then that Muslim woman is going to try to have your child celebrating Juma, which is Friday, because the Muslims keep the Sabbath, keep their wrong Sabbath on Friday. Not even really a Sabbath. All right. Now, if you marry a Catholic, you're going to be doing Sunday as opposed to the Sabbath day. You're going to be doing Christmas, which is against the Bible. You see? So that's why it's very important for us to marry within our own nation, to marry our own people, and to marry the daughters of our own men, and to marry the sons of our own men. We cannot mix up the nations into the nation of Israel. So you so-called Black people, Hispanic, Latino, Native American, CD, and you Shidi, and you Kafir people, our brothers and sisters that are in Pakistan and India, that were brought there in slavery, and in Turkey, and in Georgia, Russia, by the Black Sea. These are all Israelites that we can marry from. So what Judah's problem was that Judah, one, took a woman that was a Gentile, number one. All right. Number two, he gave, when you look at the history, he gave this woman, all right, he gave this woman that was a Gentile, all right. He gave this woman that was a Gentile, all right, and to his son. When we studied, we said Tamar was indeed a Gentile woman, all right, because we didn't have no Israelites at that time. There was no Israelites, and the Hebrews, we already saw the Hebrews lived up north by Padan Aram, which is about 10 miles north of the modern border of Turkey and Syria in a town called Haran, Harran. The town is still there today. They have some very interesting mud buildings that look like the top of a beehive. Okay, and they've been there for millennium. Very, very, very old buildings, old houses there. So that's where the Hebrews lived. All right. Now, when you go further down south where Judah was at, that was the Hamite territory from the Canaanites and the Philistines and those different families. All right. So Tamar was from the indigenous people of that modern Canaan territory. She was not an Israelite. She was not, a Hebrew. Okay. So Judah went and had sex with this woman. All right. Which in itself, there's nothing wrong with him having sex with a woman. The problem is that one, she's a Gentile. Two, he wasn't having sex with her to make her his wife. You cannot have sex with a woman unless you're taking that woman to be your wife or as your wife. Okay. You cannot deal with a woman unless that woman is yours. She belongs to you. All right. There's a very thin line between betrothal and marriage. Once a woman is betrothed to a man, she belongs to that man. And it's only the formal ceremony of marriage or the formal declaration of marriage that makes the distinction. That's the only thing, because she cannot go out and deal with another man. So now Tamar couldn't go back to the man that was supposed to be her husband, which was when we go up here, it was Shelah. Okay, Shelah was supposed to be her husband right here. She saw that Shelah had grown up. As for her, she was not given him for a wife. Okay, so it says Kaya Ra'afha Kaya Gadal Shalat. Gadal Shalat. She said big was Shalat. Wa Hawa'a La'a Natanha. It says and he no given to her Laha again to her La Ashah. He wasn't given to her so that to wife. La Asha means to wife or to woman. So he was not given to her to woman. Okay. Now something else we want to look right here. Wa yara right here. Let's look at this Hebrew right here. Wa yara Yahwada wa yakashabha la zawana kaya kasatha panyaha. So Judah was dealing with her as if she was just a regular whore wanting money. All right, she was just a regular whore wanting money. But now when we go down, look how the man addresses her. All right, the man, the Edomite, all right, he addressed the woman as a temple sex servant, Quadsha, right here, Quadsha. He addressed her as a pagan temple sex slave, sex servant, which would have sex with men, and then they would give the money, back to their temple. Now, this is the same thing that goes on in some African countries. It goes on in some Buddhist countries, and I know it goes on in India, where you have a woman and she belongs to a so-called goddess, like maybe she belongs to Kali, for example. And as she belongs to Kali, she goes and she would have sex with men, and then she would take that money and give that money back to the Hindu temple. But we, as the children of Israel, we have no such custom. Even when you look in the Arab countries, the Muslim countries, they have women that are single women that they pay to dance for them, sexually at different functions. You know, but they have clothes on, but they're dancing in tight clothes and dancing very, sexual, which is against the righteous nature, that Yahweh wants us to live. So these loose sexual practices are things that the other nations do. But the children of Israel, we're not supposed to do this. We have to remain very, very focused on our holiness unto Yahweh, which means we have to study and we have to walk in the commandments of Moses that were given to the children of Israel, who some of you brothers from Turkey, some of you brothers from Pakistan, you might know Moses as Musa. Musa was Shidi. Moses was a black man. Moses was a Sidi man, all right? And he was the messenger of Yahweh, God Almighty, that gave us the Torah or Taurat to the children of Israel that we're supposed to be observing and keeping. It tells us how to eat. It tells us how to dress. It tells us what days are supposed to be kept as holy days. All right. It tells us how we're supposed to treat each other. All right. It tells us what to do when we have different illnesses. It tells us what to do when a woman starts to bleed on her period. How do you handle that? Okay. What happens when a woman has a baby? How do you handle that situation? So there's different things that we're supposed to be practicing, and these things actually help to invite the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, into our spirits and help us, to do better. All right, so that's going to be the Torah reading for today, Genesis chapter 38, verses 1 through 30. If you have any questions, any comments, you can probably be better off to send me a message in the inbox, and I can answer it, a lot quicker. Just give me a direct message, and I can answer it, a lot quicker than if you just leave it in the comment section right here. So Yahweh bless you, and then Yahweh shine. Now remember, December 6th is the new moon. From December 6th to the December 7th is the new moon. So during that new moon, that's a holy day. You cannot work, you cannot buy and sell, and you cannot do any of your own pleasures. All right. You have to keep that as a holy day. So that's the new moon. All right. Now, after the new moon, the next major day we have coming up is going to be April 18th to April 19th. Is the first day of Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, begins on April 18th to April 19th. Okay. Now, during that whole time period is a celebration for 7 days. We cook and we eat for 7 days. All right. Now, the last day is on April 24th to April 25th is the 7th day of Passover. The first and the last day, the 18th through the 19th, and the 24th through the 25th are holy days where we have to get together and read what happened on Passover from the books of Exodus, about chapter 11, 12, and 13, and see the history of what happened with us. Actually reading all of the plagues that started when Moses left out of Egypt. So we'd have to begin with that part of the history. All right, maybe from chapter 1 of Exodus all the way to chapter 13. Now, when we have Passover, if there is one day in Passover that falls on a Sabbath, then that particular Sabbath we would be allowed to cook, because we're commanded to have a major feast to celebrate the Passover for all 7 days. So we can cook on Passover on the Sabbath day. Okay, just like the new moon. If the new moon falls on a Sabbath, we can cook on that Sabbath. But a normal weekly Sabbath, we cannot cook on, we cannot kindle our fires. Now, on so-called Friday night, which is November 30th, is the first day of Hanukkah. Hanukkah celebrates when we took the temple back from the Greeks in ancient Israel. Our ancestors fought against the Greeks and took the temple. Okay, so now we must observe Hanukkah, but again, Hanukkah, the first day, falls on the Sabbath. But we cannot cook on Hanukkah. Why? On that Sabbath, because that Sabbath is a holy Sabbath, and Hanukkah was instituted by our ancestors, not by Yahweh, God Almighty. So we would be prohibited from lighting a fire to cook with on Hanukkah. Once again, because Hanukkah was not given to us by Yahweh, God Almighty, Amsadeu. Yahweh gave us holy days in the book of Leviticus chapter 23. So if we have something like Hanukkah or Purim that we observe that is not part of the holy days that Yahweh gave us, we can have a feast on that day, but we cannot cook during that holy Sabbath. All right. So I think that's about it. If you have any questions, once again, send me a message on the inbox. I'll be more than glad. All right, this is your brother again, Parashah, coming to you as an elder and as a judge for the children of Israel, Banya Yasha'Allah, scattered on into Asia, into Europe, Africa, South America, North America, as an elder and a judge for our people scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, with the council of elders of Banya Yasha'Allah, and also coming to you as an elder with the government of Israel, Mashara Yasha'Allah, the elder with the government of Israel to serve you in any capacity that you need to be served, as your brother, as your servant, as your elder. All right. So may the Most High God, Yahweh, bless you in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. There, he is the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father except they go through Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. All right. So I love you all. May the Most High Yahweh bless you. Shalom.